We now turn to our colleague, Mario Parker in Washington. So last time I left him, he was sort of on the plane on the way to Florida. Where is Donald Trump now?
Yes, he's at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. He left this morning. We saw that he had a send-off at Joint Base Andrews, where Air Force One takes off, in which he gave a speech, his farewell speech, to supporters that were assembled there.
And so what are his plans going forward? Do we know, will he live at Mar-a-Lago as far as we know?
As far as we know, he'll live in Mar-a-Lago. That'll be his base of operations. His children, Ivanka, Jared, Don Jr., they're also living in Florida nearby as well. In terms of plans going forward, the former president, I should say, left open the possibility that he'll be around in some capacity, to paraphrase his remarks. He didn't specify what that was necessarily, but kind of hinted that we won't necessarily see him follow the tradition of ex-presidents who kind of fade off into the sunset.
Mario, it's Jeannie. Yeah, and I don't suspect we'll see that either. But I wanted to ask you about former Vice President Pence and how much tension you understand there was between the two on this very last day, as Vice President Pence was there representing the administration alone this afternoon.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the line from former Vice President Pence's administration was that it would have been logistically impossible for him to both attend the send-off for President Trump at Joint Base Andrews and then make it over back into the district for the inaugural festivities. But make no mistake about it, there had been some tension going back to the January 6th riot at the Capitol, in which the president's supporters stormed, and some of them searched for Vice President Pence after the president erroneously and falsely said that he had the power to overturn the election results.
Hey, Mario, this is Rick. I was curious how you think the differences will be between covering the Trump White House versus covering the new Biden White House. I mean, will there be regular press conferences again? Will you see much of the new president in the briefing room? It was a real crapshoot over the last 4 years as to what you would get as a coverage reporter in the White House, and I was curious what your expectations are for the new administration.
Sure. We expect a stark difference between the two. We saw some of that play out during the campaign, whether it was some of the social distancing procedures that were put in place or the accessibility. Jen Psaki, who will be the new press secretary, has indicated that she'll be conducting daily briefings. That's something that we hadn't seen from the former administration. While we did get access to President Trump, it wasn't always in the briefing room, aside from the coronavirus pandemic briefings from earlier last year. But we do expect the daily briefings to come back into play. That's something as well. And that's something that's particularly important as we see President Biden now issue just an array of executive orders.
Yeah, for our radio audiences, what we're watching on TV are some doors there. I'm told it's the president's room. I think it's the president of the Senate. And at some point, those will open, and the new President Biden will come out, and we'll have that signing ceremony we've been talking about. So, Mario, while we're still with you, I'll use a technical term here. There's a slew of presidential executive orders that supposedly are coming out today. Do you know, has he signed them yet? When will he sign them? And maybe as important, how do you pick which ones to sign?
We're not sure if he signed them yet. As far as we know, he hasn't yet. That'll be something later on this afternoon, in which he'll be doing. But we know that he wanted to hit the ground running. He wants to do some things to stem the economic downturn, whether that's building upon some of President Trump's actions on whether it's student loan payment deferrals, some other economic policy options as well. We know that he'll be doing that later on today.
And I'm just here to report because you and Rick were talking about it, that it looks like Joe Biden's Twitter account, the POTUS Twitter account, is up and running. So
Oh, good.
we've
Released
got
from
that
detention.
back, Mario. and Mario, I wanted to follow up on those executive orders, as we've seen in the modern presidency, this sort of presidency by executive order. We understand that a few of those are going to be overturning steps, obviously, that Trump made. But one of the interesting ones that we haven't talked a lot about has to do with the student loan program and deferments in that area. And is this something we're expecting Biden to sign today? And, you know, are you expecting him to take more steps in that area? And also, we're hearing in terms of people that are renting and other people who have been hit by the pandemic, obviously, economically so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. We're expecting him to sign some of those today. Those are things that, to be fair and accurate, that President Trump had enacted as well to kind of stem the economic pain associated with the coronavirus pandemic. President Biden has indicated that he'll extend some of those measures immediately. And then, of course, there's the stimulus package that he would like Congress to pass as well, that will really address those in a broader fashion.